I just wanted to thank you for inviting me here. I wanted to be here with everyone today and share a song that came to me. It's in the song what I'm asking is for the 4 messengers from all directions to watch over my family so that no harm comes to them. So that I can share this song that came.
Oui, bonsoir. Merci à tout le monde d'être présent. Merci d'être là pour la 11e fois. La dernière fois, j'avais dit que j'espérais qu'on se verrait pour un power. Heureusement, on n'a plus à demander une commission d'enquête. Mais, par exemple, on doit demander que cette commission d'enquête-là ait un impact, qu'elle ait des solutions et qu'elle soit réelle. Je demande simplement qu'une commission d'enquête qui ait du pouvoir pour changer la vie des femmes, la vie des jeunes filles, qu'elle ne soit pas uniquement décorative. Et je pense que c'est le désir que tout le monde a de ne pas voir simplement des belles photos et des beaux moments pris sur les médias sociaux. On veut voir de l'action. D'ailleurs, le 10 octobre, on va faire une demande à l'action avec I Don't Know More et beaucoup d'autres groupes. Et c'est Deeds, Not Words. Des actions, pas juste des mots. Et là, je pense qu'aujourd'hui, le fait que vous soyez encore ici, malgré le fait qu'on ait cette commission d'enquête, ça prouve que vous voulez qu'il y ait une suite, qu'il n'y ait pas simplement des beaux symboles qui soient ressortis. Parce que... Ouais. Parce que c'est triste à dire, mais elle va durer 2 ans, cette belle enquête. Elle va coûter très cher. Mais pendant ces 2 ans-là, j'ai la mauvaise impression que je vais encore voir les photos de jeunes filles et de jeunes femmes tapisser le mur de mon Facebook, comme quoi on les cherche encore, comme quoi elles sont mortes, comme quoi elles sont disparues. Et je pense que ce qu'on peut demander, c'est oui, la commission d'enquête, mais des actions maintenant. Et je pense qu'aujourd'hui, c'est ce qu'on demande en étant ici. Alors, je ne jusqu'au maintenant à tout le monde d'être venu marcher encore une fois, mais au moins, on va marcher avec le cœur plus léger parce qu'on sait que si on parle assez fort, on va se faire entendre et qu'il va y avoir de l'action. Merci encore.
So thank you all for being here for the 11th annual March. I'm from the community of Ganesadage, and in our sister community of Ganawage, there was a young woman that went missing, and she wasn't found till years later because the police were not trained properly. One of the things that we need to remember is that Indigenous women have been asking for education, sensitization at all levels of government and with the educational institutions for many years. We cannot wait for another 2 years for results to happen. In 2005, the Convention on the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women demanded that Canada come up with a national plan of action to deal with the realities that Indigenous women face in Canada. They have yet to do that. An inquiry is not going to solve anything unless the people themselves change. We have people who come here to this country who are escaping violent situations at home. They need to learn about the colonial history of Canada, because while the inquiry goes on, colonialism goes on. And while colonialism goes on, violence goes on. We cannot wait for any more rhetoric. We cannot wait for any more pain to happen, because as Melissa has said, in the 2 years that the inquiry will be organizing itself, we will lose more sisters. We will lose more children to the welfare system. Canada's colonial history is one of its dark chapters, and as Canada begins to celebrate its 150th anniversary of existence, it needs to remember that that existence has been upon the bloods of Indigenous people, upon the genocide of Indigenous people. And if we are going to go into a future that actually respects the dignity and human rights of Indigenous people, then Canada must teach that to their children, they must teach it to their young, and all politicians must be required to learn Canada's real colonial history and about human rights, not just economic rights. Because Indigenous women have been the target of colonialism and imperialism since Europeans came here. They knew that the one way to destroy Indigenous peoples' nations was to attack the women. And as we start to begin rebuilding our nations, if Canada is really sincere on reconciliation, then it must act within the school system, within the political system, within institutionalized systems. Because the people must change their attitude. It's not solely up to government. It must be the people that change. And the government will change because it has to, because the people want it to. And unless the people don't want it to, it won't change. But institutionalized racism is a big machine to attack. It's a big struggle to fight against. And Indigenous people have been fighting this for over hundreds and hundreds of years. And so we need you, as the constituents of these politicians that you elect into your parliaments, into your national assemblies. You must demand it. You must demand the education. You must stop that violence stops. And because women in general are treated as commodities, we need only look at popular culture to see that. Indigenous women are on the bottom of that rung of whose rights are protected. And the police in Val-d'Or, their Sûreté Québec, and the government that hides the shame and their guilt must be brought to justice. We cannot wait for the inquiry. It is not their job to do that. Because it appears that there are two laws in this country. One for the ordinary Canadian citizen, the one that the propaganda says are the taxpayers. And the other one is the ones who pay most dearly with their blood and their lives, Indigenous people. There is another law for us, and that is injustice. And if Canadians and Quebecers want to hold up their heads high, they must demand this, and they must demand it now, because future generations should not have to endure what hundreds of years of genocide have inflicted upon Indigenous people. We must rebuild our nations to enrich this country, our languages, our culture, the protection of the women and children, and stop the status quo of destroying the land. Because when you destroy the land, we know that you are attacking the women, who are the ones who pass on the culture, who are the ones who pass on the language, who are the ones who pass on those values. So all you mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, uncles, aunties, you make sure those young men that you raise respect women. And you make sure that those young women do not tolerate violence in their relationship, that they feel worthy, that they can hold their heads up high, and that their rights as human beings will be respected by all levels of government, by the authorities and in the general population. We cannot wait any longer. And I want to thank you all for coming out here today. Last year it was raining and we had so many people. We had 700 people. And I want to thank the organizers for doing this and all the families. And I hope that the families will not be re-traumatized by the commission, as some families have told me. We know what the problem is. We better start all being part of that solution. Senyor Ko at Winikawanagin.